Evening, everyone. Welcome to our September 13th, 2023 meeting. Would you please join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Steve.
Chairman John Kerr.
Here.
Vicki Gannon.
Here.
Nancy Garbino.
Here.
Ken Christensen.
Here.
Jack Mattis.
Here.
Bruce Prince.
Here.
Christopher Saberto.
Here. Thank you. Next on first on our agenda is the minutes from August 9th, 2023. Any discussion or changes? Make a motion that we accept the minutes as presented from August 9th, 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We have a public hearing for the Dish Wireless, which is on 121 Route 100. It's for a special use permit for the wireless telecommunications facility. Town map 2811-1-1.1. Good evening.
Good evening. Again, for the record, my name is David Kenny. I'm an attorney with Snyder & Snyder. This application is what is known as an eligible facilities request. Dish is co-locating its equipment at the existing tower that's located at 121 Route 100, locally known as the Amato Farm. This application, again, meets all the requirements under federal law for an eligible facilities request. We're here tonight for the public hearing, and we also have been presented a draft copy of the resolution. We have no comments on the resolution, but I'm here tonight to answer any questions the board or the public may have.
Before I open it to the public, why don't I ask Steve or Dave if you have any comments? I don't. No? Okay. Is there anyone here who would like to speak on this matter? If not, then if the board's okay. If the board has no comments, I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Any board discussion?
I have a question.
Sure.
So on the diagram that was submitted, it looks like the co-located transmitters are below the artificial tree limbs. Is that accurate? Or will that be within the artificial tree limbs that are there to camouflage all of those?
So they absolutely will be located within the trees. As you can see over here, this is where they're proposed to be going. The tree limbs extend way below.
Got it, okay. Because the diagram on page 6 of the elevation view, it looks like the proposed Dish Wireless antennas are below that mark. I just wanted clarity on it.
Are you referring to the RF emissions report?
This is from, the RF compliance assessment and report.
Yes, when they prepared that, they had a kind of calculation about the height of the branches, so they have an old kind of image. It was since confirmed with the owner of the tower the branches extend much lower than that, and since it doesn't affect the information in the RF emissions report, they didn't change that diagram. But the correct diagram is the one that's in front of you right now.
Thank you for that clarity. I appreciate that. I don't have any other questions.
Anyone else?
I have a general question. Have you started to offer service under Dish for mobile, or are you just starting to get approvals for different additions to the towers?
So they are offering service. I'm not sure if their network is online yet in this region. I know they have gone online. The Dish headquarters is in Colorado, so they do have cell phones operating in Colorado. But right now they're putting out the infrastructure so that when someone like a regular customer has that phone, there actually is a network for them to use that on. So we've got to build all the sites and turn the sites on, and then I think probably in the next year or two you're going to start seeing TV commercials for Dish Wireless cell phone service.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Any other comments or questions? No? If it's okay, then we can direct staff to prepare a resolution, which we have. And are there any comments on that?
Nope.
If If you get it by her, you're okay, you know.
Say, Vicky's my toughest critic.
I know.
If I can get the ball.
Then if everybody's okay, I'll make a motion that we accept Resolution 2023-12, conditional special permit approval to the Dish Wireless LLC for the installation of new wireless facility at 121 Route 100.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Next on our agenda is the project review of 3 Narcissus Drive LLC proposed lot line change, town map 5.15-1-64 and 5.15-1-50. It's a lot line change to accommodate existing structures. The change involves a swap of 149 square feet between the properties, and for the record, the property is in an R10 zone.
Hi, I'm Greg DiNapoli, owner of 3 Narcissus Drive. I purchased the property back in December of last year. The property didn't have a CO at the time. It was never finished since 1946. So I worked with the building inspector to correct all deficiencies. And the last one noted was the way they drew the property line. My porch was on the neighbor's property and their walkway to the street was on my property. So I had my surveyor just redraw the property line, giving equal distribution, so that way, you know, we could move forward and just get a CO for this and correct the wrongs of the past. Pretty simple. Sorry about your Jones.
Steve? Dave? Yeah.
No, engineering doesn't typically review lot line adjustments.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, this is an abbreviated review process because it's just a lot line change.
Right.
It's a type 2 action, so it can fall under that that process. So the next decision, if you'd like, is to schedule a public hearing. And because of the nature of the application, if you wanted to direct staff to prepare a resolution for the next meeting, then we could do that, and we could have this matter concluded by your next meeting.
Yes,
Yeah, I think that's a
absolutely.
good idea.
Yes, 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 yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
No problem.
Make a motion that we schedule a public hearing and also direct you to please prepare a resolution.
Second.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, just get in touch with me. I'll be in tomorrow.
And last is a discussion on the town is going to act as lead agency for the Trailside Residential Community. It's a proposed 81-unit townhouse community. It's on approximately 56.8 acres in the planned hamlet. And R40 and R80 districts for the multiple multifamily residents, sorry, in the business property. Just for the record, if Jerry could back on this, whenever there's going to be a zone change, the agency that's doing that, in this case, it's a town board, they always act as lead agency, correct?
That's the usual process.
Yeah. Okay. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Nice to see everybody again. The new members that I haven't worked with, look forward to working with you. I've enjoyed working with this board for many, and I think it's had positive results. The property we're talking about tonight, I'll let Rich do most of the talking, but the property we're talking about tonight is 56 acres. It's the last holding of Somers Realty. If you recall, we purchased the property from Muse 1 from Somers Realty. We purchased the property from Muse 2 from Somers Realty. Avalon was also purchased from Somers Realty. This is the last 56 acres. What we're proposing here is an 81-unit market rate townhouse. 75 units are market rate. 76 units are market rate. 5 units will be marketed to people who make less than 120%, 120%, not 80%, 120%, which in Westchester County right now, family of 4 is about $171,000. So in addition to this, on the 56 acres, what we are proposing is to donate approximately 7.5 acres to the town. Possibly 2 acres will be used as a dog park. Approximately 5 acres will be used for a recreation center. We will build the recreation center. It's approximately 6,000 square foot recreation center. It's multi-purpose. It has area on the first floor for basketball courts, pickleball courts. It has areas for, like I said, multi-purpose for large meetings. If this room is not adequate, I could see in the future where large town meetings could be held there. On the second floor, there's a mezzanine level, a conference room where smaller groups can meet. It's also going to be set up where there will be glass that if people want to watch what's going on the lower level, if there's a sports activity, you'll be able to watch who is participating down there. There'll be bathrooms and an area for lockers as well. The site is adjacent to rail trail. As the plan evolves, we would like to talk to the board about, for the homeowners, an entrance onto the rail trail just for our occupants of the townhomes. So we're pretty excited. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece of property. One of the keys to this, of course, is connecting to Westchester County's water and sewer. The property is made up of 2 parcels. The first parcel is approximately 16 acres. The second parcel is approximately 40 acres. A portion of the first parcel is mapped as being in the Westchester County Sewer District, and a portion of it is also mapped as being in the town's water district. So it would necessitate expanding the sewer district to include both lots, and I've had preliminary discussions with the county. My presentation was that the majority of the 16 acres that is mapped as in the sewer district is going to the town of Somers for this community benefit, a 6,000 square foot recreation center. Therefore, I'm requesting that we are able to access the sewer for the 40 acres in the back. In addition to, the recreation center, if you look at it, I envision a lot of our tenants, Muse 1, Muse 2, and Crossroads, will access the recreation center. Since we've done Muse 1, Muse 2, and of course Avalon came in and we did Crossroads, it's worked. We've connected one side of the street with the other. There's a lot of connectivity there, and I think it's pretty neat. As some of you know, I don't know if all of you know, but our office is there now. It's where I go to work every day, and we're pretty proud of the way everything has turned out. So I feel that the connectivity, and I think that the tenants that we've provided housing to will have access to this recreation center. This will be a fee simple development, not condo. It'll be fee simple. So there will be 80 some odd lots. You'll have the common areas and so forth, but there'll be at least 81 fee simple lots to be sold. And the Carneys, I'm working with my 3 sons, Sean, and his 2 brothers, Brian and Brett, and we will again develop them, we will then build them, and we will also market them as well. So we just want to give a brief presentation, and if you have any questions about anything, we'll be here, but I want Rich to kind of give an overview of how we got here. Thank you.
All right. Good evening. Rich Williams, Insight Engineering. I'm just going to slide this over a little bit just so I can point while I talk. Let's start with... Let's start with going back in time a little bit and just locating this property as to where it is in Somers, because it's a landlocked piece. It's 56.8 acres that most people probably don't even realize where it is because it's tucked away between a bunch of different properties. So the parcel itself sits by, a little bit, is bound by the bike trail on the eastern portion of the property, which runs north-south. We gain our access and are connected to the Somers Realty Plan Hamlet. So on this larger plan, you can see Route 6. If you're heading towards Jefferson Valley, you're going towards my left, which is your left. You have Windsor Road. In the planned hamlet, you can see we have Avalon Bay, Muse 1, Muse 2, Crossroads, which Ken mentioned, and here the Somers Common Shopping Center. The property boundary itself is highlighted in red. You can see we have 2 tax map parcels. The property is rectangular generally in nature, runs north to south. And this property was discussed as part of the development of the planned hamlet. If the board recalls, it was recognized during the development of the planned hamlet that Somers Realty had this holding and that it was landlocked. And one of the things and one of the foresights that this board had was to correct that landlocked issue. So a right-of-way was actually extended to this property through the planned hamlet, which is right here in red. And if you recall, when we came before you for the application for Avalon Bay, that road was approved for construction up to the sub-base course. We had put in the fill necessary to get across the wetland. We'd put in the wetland crossings, the wetland mitigation. We'd put in the curbing. We'd put in the storm drainage. We'd put in the stormwater management practices. But we held off on paving the road. And that's because we always knew that there would be future development at the end of the road, and there was no sense in paving a road to have the pavement later disrupted by construction. So this road always was envisioned for access to this property. Okay, Nancy, okay, you have a question?
Yeah, just so I understand, the projected project, its access will primarily be through near Avalon.
Correct.
Is that correct? Okay.
Right, so starting down at Route 6, you come up Clayton Boulevard to where the Village Green is. You would turn towards the Village Green heading uphill into Avalon, and then towards the southeastern corner of Avalon is where Reynolds Drive is and comes in. So it's all accessed off of public roads, which are all dedicated and constructed. So they are currently town roads that we will be deriving access from, up to this Reynolds Drive extension. That is yet to be dedicated, but was always envisioned to be dedicated as a town road.
I have a second question. That means, since you state that you are near the bike path, and so you want access to the bike path for the 81 homes, it is at the extreme opposite of the parcel where that will be taking place?
So let's now jump into the development itself. Right now that we're acclimated to where we are globally, let's start to focus in on the details of the project. So on this page, north is to the right. So Somers Commons is right here. This is now your bike trail. Reynolds Drive is constructed up to this hammerhead right here. So Avalon Bay, the last couple of units on Avalon Bay sit about here. Here is the green. Clayton Boulevard would loop above the page, just to get everybody oriented. What we're proposing to do is to come into the site and develop the 81 units on our western border and preserve the eastern border by placing 20 acres of the 56.8 in conservation. We right now do not have a direct access proposed to the bike trail. We've kept our development separate, albeit we're adjacent to it. We do have walking trails that we believe would be passive recreation to go through the conservation easement area that would be used by our residents. The recreation center and dog park that Ken was talking about are on the northern portion of the property. So there's a 7.5 acre piece here. Generally, as we look at the topography of the property, there's a ridge line or a high line along our western boundary. Centrally through the site, we do have a wetlands. That wetland has been delineated by a consultant survey located. Again, that wetland itself will sit within the conservation easement area. Generally, our site development, the 81 townhomes, follow the linear nature of the property going north-south. So we'll come off of Reynolds Drive, which will be a public road, providing our frontage, come into the site for the 81 homes. Go ahead.
If I'm speaking out of turn, please tell me. To the left side of that property, as I'm looking at it, is the property off Green Tree if they were granted the privilege of building. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. So it is contiguous to the property that we're looking at.
Correct.
Okay. If Green Tree were to agree that in exchange for you granting access to their 3 units through your property, they grant access where they're building their driveway across, or make it a walkway from there, whatever it is, call it what you will, that would give your occupants the ability to use the rail trail as well as their occupants. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Has that been explored?
At the August 10th town board meeting, council member asked if I was aware of the Green Tree proposal. I said yes. As fate would have it, the former owners of that parcel are my next door neighbors who live over on Lake Mayapack. I looked at the property. So Brian and Christy, my son Brian, his wife Christy, and 3 kids who live here in Somers, before they bought that house, I was looking to build a house. So I heard about the property. I looked at it many years ago, and I decided against it. But I was familiar with the property. So at the August 10th meeting, I was asked if we were open to that. And my answer was, and continues to be, that I've never said no. How could I say no to this town? Either the town board or the planning board with our history here. So yes, if there is a path, the will is here, of course, to do whatever works best for the town. We have found, I think, over a period of 14 years now, for town, finding solutions to various problems or issues that come up. I think one of the best is Crossroads of Baldwin Place, that commercial building. I remember when I showed up and I said, well, I don't do commercial buildings. And they said, well, I don't know if we want to do this. And this planning board held my feet to the fire. The night I got the approval, I don't know if you remember, but it was Jan, the motion was made, and the second, she said, wait a minute, how do we know he's going to build that commercial building? And I went, good question. And there was a provision put in the approval that said, before I got a final CO on residential, we had to have the building up, framed, and windows in, and so forth. So we solved the problem. So the answer, sir, is yes, at your direction. But we are flexible and willing to help find a solution if that's the path that this board wants to go down.
Right. From a personal standpoint, I think that's the direction that the project has to take. Not your project. We can't hold you accountable if they decide not to allow that access. But if they're amenable, it makes both projects, I think, much more viable and much more appealing to me as a planning board member.
Rich, can you point out on the larger map where the Green Tree development is, or is it on there?
So, on the larger map, you have Green Tree Road right here, Kegel Park in green, and our parcel in red at Green Tree Road piece.
So the distance from the end of your road to the Green Tree development is not, is what?
It's
Okay. And you would allow them to go into through your property?
At this board's direction.
Yeah, but we appreciate that.
Done?
Yeah, I'm done.
So you were asking for access to the bike, that vehicle access or foot traffic?
No, I envision, as this plan evolves, there will be an HOA involved here. Be simple.
And can you come up to the mic?
I envision that there will be an HOA involved here. And since I bought the property, I seem to be walking that rail trail almost every weekend. And I envision, I'm hoping that we create just an entrance on the rail trail with a gate, and you've seen it with some of the properties that are on there, just for, set up some kind of mechanism that gate can only be opened by the residents there, but it's only for pedestrian traffic, no bikes, bikes, but no
Cars.
Yeah, or motorcycles or anything like that. Okay.
Any specific location you have in mind?
I do. I think it would be better as we walk it.
Yeah.
Portions of that rail trail, actually, if you walk the rail trail, you sit in a valley for a good section of it. That's most of this property's frontage.
Yeah, I've been on it. Yeah.
And
so the conservation area is going to have walking trails, and your vision there is to be able to walk through those trails. The residents there could walk through that conservation area trail and then enter into the bike trail.
Yeah. Yes. Obviously, and that would be our vision or our goal. You know, DOT actually controls the rail trail, so there may be permitting and things necessary which may ultimately preclude it. But you know, our vision right now is to do.
Rich loves when I go off script, which is what I did tonight. I didn't told him I wanted an access to the rail trail, but after walking it last weekend, I just kind of so.
I have to pull him back sometimes.
Question: do you envision that the road along which the houses will be constructed will be a public road? And not to restrict it to that, also the road that's going into the recreation center, all the road that you are planning to build.
I'm going to tell you tonight we don't have an answer on that.
Okay.
I've thought about it. I've thought about a couple of different options and routes, but that is part of a bigger discussion with the town. And
understood.
Tonight I don't have a good answer.
So
that's a valid answer. Thank you.
Just to finish the thought I had too, and what you were saying, that if that proposal goes through, where you're working with the Green Tree Development to grant them access onto that road, that would be for vehicle traffic. Your access to the bike trail will be foot traffic, and the access on the Green Tree to the bike trail will be foot traffic as well. No vehicles.
You have no say on Green Tree.
But that's your idea, right? That's.
Yeah, they have no control over that, but yeah, that seems to be the right approach.
I foresee a complicated HOA arrangement that would have to be worked out with these three homes, because they would be responsible for the roadways through that subdivision and garbage collection and all that. Somewhat of a complicated arrangement, but can it be done?
It can be done, or it can be where I live, we have an HOA, and at the end of the road, our HOA ends, and there's kind of a private road there. And decision was made years ago. People down at the end of the road use our road, and we just haven't included them in the charges. And every once in a while, somebody brings it up at a meeting, but it's. I think at the time it was deemed fair. So whatever is the solution here, I don't think the cost of 3 homes, I'm not sure how the lawyers will work this out, but I think that it's quite possible that those 3 homes would be some kind of arrangement, maybe where they're not actually part of the HOA, they just have access to it, and they don't have to get involved in the HOA and the maintenance of those roads. It might be more attractive to them then, right? Maybe.
My question really wasn't to get a legal answer, but to hope that it's really something that could be worked out.
Yeah, and Mr. Bino, I think it is. I think it can be. And I think from our perspective, I think we would look at it that, and again, I'm speaking for my son Sean, he always kicks me the next day, but that we wouldn't hold anything up worrying about if those 3 homes were going to contribute to the road and the maintenance and so forth. It just might be something that when the people buying here in the HOA, in the Trailside HOA, they have to understand that. And that would be made abundantly clear.
You would have to, you know, change a little bit of the layout
Yes.
of your road.
Yes.
And you were saying that you're not sure if it's going to be a public road or a private driveway. But even if it's a private driveway, they still would have access.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And this is the concept plan now. As we work with you, as we move forward, it will evolve. Tonight I don't tell my engineer I want a connection to the rail trail, so that's something that will come up in further discussions. There could be something else. Let me throw something out there. Again, I haven't told Rich yet, but it could be a scenario. Could be a scenario where we build 80 townhomes, and the 81st lot is left empty.
Right.
Because I envision that, I don't know how many years, but that's where my wife and I, or my wife, will reside when we, you know, we're empty nesters now and so forth. So it'd be great. I could walk to work every day, shake everybody up, go home for lunch and take a nap, and then go back down and shake everybody up again. So, but I envision that. So as we go along, there are going to be changes such as that. But these are things that I have, not big substantial changes, but tweaks here and there. And in addition, the recreation center. You know, we've had a lot of meetings, a lot of discussions. We, you know, we haven't built a recreation center before. We haven't. And there's a lot of good faith with the town and with us. And we're going to build a great recreation center. And there's a lot of good faith here, because there's been a lot of good faith with the town and the Carneys for the last, 14, 15 years. So as this plan, you know, evolves, you'll start to see, you know, more specifics.
Yeah, well,
Thank you.
I personally appreciate your flexibility.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I just have a quick question. So, Rich, I don't recall, but the Reynolds Drive, is that a mapped road on the official map?
Yeah.
Do you recall?
I have to check the official map, and the last time it was updated, Reynolds Drive up to our property line was designated in the master plan as one of those roads that was to be a public road.
Okay.
And that was specifically because this property is landlocked.
Right.
And that was to provide the frontage.
Okay.
So we will need, you know, we will need a public road that comes up to the property line.
Right.
So that we have.
There was just some internal discussion about making sure you had that was, if that was a public road or a mapped road, then you won't need to go through a 280A or process like that for access.
I think, you know, there's figures actually in the Somers Realty Plan Hamlet Master Plan identifying which roads in the Plan Hamlet were to be dedicated and public roads. This road was specifically mapped to this property line. At the time it was with the intent of providing frontage.
Okay.
And if you recall, as Rich told me the history, the board requested when Avalon built the road, there's 2 gates there at the bottom of Reynolds Drive. If you go there, sometimes we keep it locked, sometimes we don't. But you can go over there and you'll see right at Hoyt Drive, and the gates are there, and the road leads right up, and so.
Some of the ancillary photos you see on the drawings that have been put up tonight, we have some conceptual renderings of what the recreation center could look like. We did bring floor plans. Floor plans. The recreation center is envisioned to be at this point. so I'll do my best to speak loudly. Open area below, we have some sport courts and basketball hoop area, or basketball area, which can be also dual purpose as pickleball, locker rooms, conference room, some mezzanine level on the second floor, which looks down on the basketball courts and pickleball courts with additional conference room and storage. I think these were all things that were discussed with the town and amenities that were requested. You can tell by the architecture style, it was envisioned that this would have more of a barn look or feel than, you know, a commercial building. And Ken has spent a good amount of time with our architect just starting to revise some of the looks of this building.
You referred to part of the property becoming a dog park, I believe, earlier on in this conversation. Would that be a dog park exclusive to the residents of this development or open to the community?
Good question. So, as we mentioned, there's approximately 20 acres in conservation, which you can see shaded. But to the north of that, we also mentioned a 7.5 acre parcel that is going to be dedicated to the town of Somers. That's this parcel to the north. That light green area there is where we envision the dog park. It's next to the commercial shopping center, farthest away from the residents. We also have designed the 7.5 acre parcel so that the recreation center can be expanded if it needs to be. So there's opportunity there for the future for the town.
Okay, but where is the dog park envisioned?
Right here in this light green area.
That entire area?
It's approximately 2 acres. Again, it's a 7.5 acre piece being dedicated, so it's sizable.
Yeah. Could get the big dogs in there.
There are, due to the history here between former owners of the Somers Commons Shopping Center, Big V, and our predecessors entitled Somers Realty, there was agreements, and then there was some litigation about cross easements and so forth. There is an easement. It's not well defined, but there's an easement in that area of the dog park, which says that we have an easement out to their property, out to Route 118. And if for some reason you can't use that because of whatever, wetland or whatever, that we're supposed to find another suitable location. So, you know, as this evolves, there is a possibility that the town's dog park, with all of us working with the owners next door, and maybe modify the easement so that, in fact, the dog park maybe doesn't have to go through Reynolds Drive, right? Maybe you go, it's where we park our car over by the new Tractor Supply, right to the other side of the Tractor Supply. So in that area there, that's, it's not well defined, and we have an easement. Is it, you know, as somebody told me years ago, I went to an attorney, the first project I did, and I needed an easement. And there was an easement that led to the back of the property, and the planning board wouldn't give me approval until I proved that I had an easement. I went to a lawyer, and I looked at him, he read the thing, and I looked, and I said, so the easement's good. He says, son, the easement's good, but easements aren't problems. People, there's your problem. So my point is that there is a, there will be an possibility of trying to redefine that if the will is there, you know. From
Redefine where the dog park will go?
No, the access from the other side.
From Route 118.
So in other words, you're saying access that would increase the foot traffic and paw traffic from the shopping center at the shopping center location, that people could then park. They'd be at the shopping center, people going there, and then they could walk over to the dog park. Is that what you're?
Yes, and it complements, there's a new, I think a new use going in there.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right, which it would complement that as well.
A nice synergy, absolutely.
Yeah.
To play in those words, Sean's going to put a muzzle on you next time you come to this meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I think you see that by now. He doesn't let me come to most meetings, but this is local.
So the purpose of tonight was really informative, you know, to come before and introduce you to the project. So
Well, that was one purpose, but the other purpose, Mr. Chairman, is that
Yes.
there's a
Make a,
notice of intent to act as lead agency.
we should make a motion
board-
for that, shouldn't we?
Right, you have no objection to the town
I
board.
don't think so.
Not at all.
No objection.
Has to
Make
be.
a motion that we recommend the town board acts as lead agency.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
And we look forward to working with this board as we do.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And there are about 250 letter writers who are also looking forward. I'm talking about Green Tree.
Our next meeting is Wednesday, October 11th, 2023, unless anyone has any more comments or anything, questions? Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.